Hey all, Tony Bing here. Hello and welcome to my Public Defender build for She-Hulk for Marvel Heroes Omega for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now we have a very nice, hard-hitting, simple build. We don't use combo points at all, and we really can put out an incredible amount of damage on this. So what I'll do in the video, so you can follow this build, is I will showcase the skills and talents. I'll then show off the synergies. We'll look at the infinity point allocation, the general gear and priority, and at the end of the video we'll have some gameplay to show off the rotation and how the build works as well. Now if you want to jump to any section, check out the description, there are timestamps there. Otherwise, let's start off with the skills. For the skills here then, we have a nice selection of melee and also movement skills, and that's one area where She-Hulk does excel. She feels exceptionally mobile, which really adds to the fun level of her. Now for the main filler, you do have two options. The first one is cross-examination, and this one will actually generate anger. The second one you can use, which does more damage, is called battery, and you gain a bonus to weakened enemies. However, for this particular build, I really want to get my anger up as quickly as possible, and that's the reason I use cross-examination. Now the next skill we use, the one I'm using, is move to strike. So this is great for closing in an enemy. Now alternatively, what you can use, and this is one I would normally use, it's a vulnerability applicator, but the reason I'm not using this is I find that when I do use it, you leap and there's a set distance on it, so I find a lot of the time I'll leap over the enemy and away from them and I actually lose time, whereas the previous skill we looked at, move to strike, you get straight in their face straight away. So if you are using move to strike, you're losing out in vulnerability, which does help a lot with your damage. So what you potentially want to do is look for the Sentinel targeting unit artifact, which you get from the Mega Sentinel, because that will provide 100% uptime on vulnerability, so that's something to look out for there. Now the next skill we use is assault, and this is a nice AoE one, so I've got it on my main face buttons because I'll spam this often to take out trash, and it will also weaken the enemy. Now when we're very angry, we then start to use our finishers. So we have Final Verdict, which is a awesome elbow drop, and you have 2 charges of this and a 3-second cooldown. You then have Closing Argument, which is a nice uppercut, and this has a increased 20% critical hit chance. We then have Barrister Beatdown. It's not a finisher skill, but it's one we've placed here because we don't use it as often as other ones that we do spam. So it says it requires max combo points, but it actually doesn't through our talent setup. It has 100% deflect chance, and it also hits for a whopping amount as well. You can see it's almost 10,000 damage in 10 hits there. And the final skill we have is Conviction, your signature. So it hits for a huge amount. The cooldown's 25 seconds, but through our talent setup we'll be pulling that way down, and it has an incredible buff where when we use it we gain a 22.5% increase in damage and decrease in damage reduction, which really is an insane amount of damage reduction if you pair that in with the weaken as well, and that's got a 10-second duration on it. But what we'll do next now is have a look at the talents. The first talent we look at then is Intimidate Opposing Council. Now this removes combo points, making the build nice and easy, and also while you're at 100% angry, your class is very angry. When you have this status, Barrister Beatdown no longer requires full combo points to be activated. Now Lawyer Up's Evidence effect will stack whenever you use a finisher while very angry, and Lawyer Up is a buff that can actually give you up to 20% damage, 20% deflect, and 20% movement and attack speed when it's at a full 10 stacks, so it really is pretty incredible. On top of this, this talent makes it so that your finishers, when you're very angry, gain 100% bonus damage and a 6-second cooldown. Now the next talent that ties in with the first one is Legal Loophole. So when you use a finisher, you automatically apply a stack of Lawyer Up's Evidence. Now Lawyer Up's Evidence is a skill that's tied in with the skill you can see at the top right, which is Set of Skills. Normally you have to activate this and it starts off this counter that you can then build up, but through the talent setup we've got, you simply need to be very angry, fire off your finishers, and then you will start to get that damage bonus, deflect bonus, and movement and attack speed bonus. So the two of these work great together. Now the next talent is Punishing Verdict. So finisher powers while used when very angry reduce the cooldown of Barrister Beatdown and Conviction by 5 seconds. That's your signature and your hard hitting beatdown move, so that really is great, and it'll pull the cooldown in your signature way down. Now, next talent is Legal Team. So when you use Conviction, which is your signature, you automatically activate Surprise Witness, so you call in another summon. So I really do like this, just from a flavour point of view, it's quite fun. Now, final talent, we have Always Another Case. So your signature Conviction reduces the cooldown of all other powers by 10 seconds, meaning you can actually start spamming your finishers, and then in turn your finishers mean that you can use your signature quicker, so it all ties in together. And you also gain an increased 50% buff potency to the steroid part of your signature, which is pretty fantastic. But next up, let's have a look at the synergies. For the synergies, we start off by looking at the primary attributes, which are strength and durability, so that's offered by Ant-Man and Luke Cage. We then have the more generic synergies that are great, and they are Blade, Hawkeye, Hulk, She-Hulk and Squirrel Girl. And then finally, the synergies that can work great due to the melee and hand-to-hand tags are Iron Fist, Nightcrawler and also Psylocke as well. Now next up, let's have a look at the Infinity Point allocation, and this is where we would place the first 100 points. For the Infinity Point setup then, as a melee hero, and one that I believe should be played quite tanky because that makes it a lot of fun, I have placed my points into the Space Gem and Gravity Well, so that provides 50% base health. On top of that, we have the Mastery, where your medkit causes you to take 10% less damage for 5 seconds, and you gain an overall increased damage reduction of 1%, and that's after everything else is taken into effect, so it's actually a bit more powerful than it does initially seem. But next up, what we'll do is have a look at the general gearing priority. As always with this gearing section, what I'll do is give some general tips on how you want to gear for this build, and that means in future when new gear comes out you can apply the advice given here to help you decide if you want to move about your items. But the first item we look at is your legendary. It's a golden mace and it's perfect for She-Hulk. The rank 1 offers health, the rank 2 offers damage to melee powers, and all our skills have the melee tag. You then have defense for rank 3. Rank 4 is 1500 critical hit rate into hand-to-hand powers, which again is all of our skills, and then you've got the awesome rank 5 proc that can offer you offense and defensive as well. Now, as you gain the 1500 critical hit rating on the legendary, when it comes to your slots 1 to 5 and your ring and so on, you can look more for damage. You can look for attributes and also brutal strike rating. For attributes, go for durability, and that'll give you extra health. That does really work out great. We then have the medallion, and as a melee hero, Dr. Octopus medallion works fantastic. For the relic, we have Relic of Asgard. Again, we'll come back to the melee side of things, so we're bumping the damage on that even higher. Now, we actually look at the artifacts. I wouldn't normally do this, but there's one that's perfect for her, and this ties in with the damage reduction she has. So it's Fred Duke's bodysuit, and that comes from Blob. So you have a chance to taunt nearby enemies, gives you strength, damage to hand powers, and also less damage versus all attacks. So if you add that all in with the Infinity setup we've got, with the buff on her signature, she really can become incredibly tanky, one of the best tanks in the game actually for that reason. But what we'll do with the gear covered is we'll show off some gameplay. We have a run through of Sinister's lab operation where we will do a full bounty clear, take down 100 enemies and then take down Sinister at the end. As always, I will mention this is just purely to show off the rotation, not to show off how she works in best in slot gear, because I've not yet had the time to kit her out in the best gear as much as I'm looking forward to that. But as always, I hope this video was useful. If there's anything else, feel free to ask, and I'll see you all again soon.
Not on your life, Buster. be doing something right.